Less than 4 weeks before the big NATO summit, Germany wants to prove that it's doing its homework when it comes to defense.
We are doing everything to get to where we need to be militarily. When it matters, all of this has to work.
But will it?
For countries such as Germany, announcing projects, announcing major investments before the NATO summit shows that Germany is taking defense seriously and is preparing itself to carry that message on to the NATO summit in Turkey next month.
Bilateral meetings back to back, a huge international aerospace fair in Berlin, and on top of that, a multi-billion euro European fighter jet deal killed. A busy week for Germany's defense minister, all ahead of the first NATO summit since this. The pressure is on. The threat environment is growing. Russian hybrid threats are even reaching into German territory, and worries about an attack on a NATO member are looming large.
We are seeing Russian forces being deployed to locations that are all facing west. We are seeing an increase in Russian military capabilities and a rise in personnel. When you put all this together, you can connect the various dots. So analysts have concluded that the culmination could occur in 2029. So from then on, a large-scale Russian attack on NATO countries is possible. They're deliberately not saying that it will happen, but it could. And as a soldier, I naturally always have to think in terms of worst-case scenarios and assume such scenarios, because we must already be prepared.
In the meantime, the US is pulling back from Europe.
Over there?
Experts say it would take years for that to actually happen if the decision isn't reversed. But Europe knows strategic autonomy is urgently needed, says defense expert Emil Archambault.
So for Germany, what this shows is that, first of all, they must depend on themselves and their European allies for their defense, and that there is a lot of work to be done to replace these capabilities. So we need to prepare for a possibility of US withdrawal, but it is not a done deal yet.
And it's not just about troops either.
One important part of the US contribution to European defense is not only the frontline armament. It's not just tanks, fighter jets, troops, and so on. It's all the enabling systems behind it. So things such as communication system, logistics, transportations, refueling, surveillance, intelligence, command and control. Those are all systems that are very strongly dependent on American capabilities.
With the US drawing back, Germany wants to assume a leading role in Europe and NATO. But the question is how much it has to show for it, if it can actually fill the US gaps, and how fast it can get where it needs to be. NATO's targets are a huge challenge for member states that are expected to spend 5% of their GDP on defense by 2035. NATO also wants Germany to provide more troops, which is proving difficult after decades of army downsizing. Which brings us to Germany's informal defense week. A peek into Defense Minister Pistorius' agenda. Saturday, German Bundeswehr Day. Monday, meeting his Australian counterpart in a joint defense and foreign ministers format focused on security in the Indo-Pacific and arms cooperation. Tuesday, meeting the Lower Saxony state government to talk military infrastructure legislation. Shortly followed by a date with the Czech defense minister for a pre-Ankara consultation with concrete new Ukraine munitions commitments. Friday, the International Aerospace Exhibition ILA in Berlin, with defense's biggest industry giants.
Everything is interconnected. Any instability anywhere in the world has an impact, to a greater or lesser extent, on even the most remote regions within 24 hours.
And on top of the already packed agenda, the FCAS crash. FCAS, the Future Combat Air System, is a French-German-Spanish project launched in 2017. The goal, building a new generation fighter jet that is entirely built in Europe to replace the three countries' old jets that are slowly going out of date, and avoid having to rely on the US-made F-35 fighter jets like much of Europe still does. A core project for European strategic autonomy and the German defense industry. Now the German and French governments have canned the jet plans. Why? Because the two main companies, Germany's Airbus and France's Dassault, couldn't agree on the details. Dassault wanted greater control of the program. Plus, the two countries needed different things. France, a carrier-capable nuclear-armed jet. Germany didn't. This went back and forth for 9 years.
With today's knowledge, we would not have set up the project the way it was set up back then. That is the lesson we have to learn from this. It was a big, ambitious European project that is now shattered by reality.
The FCAS project goes beyond the jet, and other parts like cooperation on drones and sensors might still be continued.
Und der eigentliche Kern von FCAS,
we will preserve the real core of FCAS as a European
system,
a system
of systems, weiterführen.
But where is Germany going to get a new European fighter jet?
There are a few options, none of them very good.
A question many people are asking at ELA this week, where defense is bigger than in previous years. Airbus has sped ahead pitching a new project with 7 other companies. But the German government is emphasizing that it's still weighing its options and it wants this to be a European collaboration. Alternatives could be joining already existing projects or buying the US-35 fighter jets after all. Either way, the government is under pressure to make a decision fast and avoid getting their jets ready too late.
We cannot afford to wait forever. If we want an aircraft that is ready to fly in 2040, 2045, the work needs to start now, and fighter aircraft development takes decades, not just a few years.
So is Germany actually ready? And that's the German kicker in general. Germany is spending the money, and the political will seems to be there too. The gap between announcement and capability is where the country has historically stumbled, and a busy week in June doesn't close it.
Some members of the German armed forces would tell you that it is already too late. Speed is of the essence, and these things need to happen as fast as possible, but these are also reforms that will extend beyond 2029. Germany is currently doing a lot of the right things. The challenge is that money does not solve all the problems, and Germany has a lot of money, and it needs to be able to translate that investment into concrete capabilities. It needs to move faster, and it needs to move in a broad range of directions. That means not only buying aircraft, buying tanks, but also investing in new technologies such as drones, such as loitering munitions, such as unmanned ground vehicles. Secondly, it needs to accelerate its administrative reforms. And third, it needs to engage in a strong collective debate on the role of the armed forces and what their role is in German security, German resilience, German defense.
Looking ahead at July's NATO summit in Ankara, Germany wants to convey it's confident that it will get things done.
I think confidence is entirely right. Germany wants to show that it knows what it needs to do and what it is doing. At the same time, what Germany also wants to show, Germany wants to lead in Europe with allies. It is a Germany with European partners. So what that means is that Germany wants to move together with its allies and enable them to strengthen their own defense as well.
But the US president has been a wildcard for a while, and some are worried he won't see the German efforts as sufficient, which could mean more headaches for Europe. Germany's busy defense week ended with its biggest European defense project dead, a successor undecided, and the NATO summit just weeks away. That's not a failure of ambition, it's a stress test of execution in the area that remains Germany's Achilles heel for now.